It is indeed a very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It is another Wednesday, the 29th of March 2023, tarehe 29 mwezi wa 3 mwaka 2023. Nasema kwamba kwa salama umeamka vizuri and you're ready to tackle your day. This is the Tackle Siasa Wednesday edition of the 29th of March 2023, and it begins right now. Kama kawaida, it's happy to see you. Please when you like when you like we get to know that you watching us, and what you like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. When you join in, please like. When you like we get to know that you watching us, and that I like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. Plus also let us know where you're watching us from this morning. Where are you watching us from this morning? And our things, wherever you are. How is traffic? How is the traffic situation on your roads as well? Let us know what the traffic is looking like this morning, wherever you are traveling on this morning. Tuambie kuna kaa vipi, alafu basi tuweze kuwa na conversation pamoja. Tuko na David Maina, the national chairman Vijana na Kazi. Vijana walipata kazi ama bado?
Bado tunatafutia kazi, but when we see that the work week has been reduced from 5 days of working to 3 days of working, it becomes difficult. But William Ruto has been in Germany, and there he's been looking for opportunities for the youth, particularly in the TVET sector. So this is an ongoing job, and I think right now, Kenya has the highest trade surplus that we've had with African countries for, I think, the last 6 years. So you can start seeing that the fruits of William Ruto's policies are coming together. So it's going to take a little bit of time. We have a little bit of issues here and there. When you look at the dollar, people around the world are wondering what's going on in Kenya. Americans are asking, does William Ruto know something when he talks about the dollar? Because they can see that this economy is about to turn around. And I think that's why we can see Raila Odinga putting so much pressure, because he can see that we're just about to hit the corner with the economy, and they don't want to miss out on the goodies. So I would tell the youth of this country that we're even going to start rolling out programs for them as a party and as a government. So the better days are just around the corner. Okay. It's just that we'll have to get through this rough patch, and things will be all good for the country.
Avumilia kidogo.
Yes.
Pia tuko na Juliet Nyabuto. It's the first time on the tackle. She's a communication strategist and political analyst. Good morning to you, Juliet.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good to see you.
Oh, good to see you too. It's a first, yeah.
Okay. Salimia wananchi. Your camera just right ahead of you.
Oh, hi. Hi, I'm Juliet Nyabuto. It's a pleasure being on the show here. Hoping to interact with you guys. Yes.
Maybe you can introduce yourself as well. What do you do? And
my name is Juliet Nyabuto again. I am a communication strategist, mostly a digital creator. I have worked with a campaign secretariat before. Currently, I'm a freelancer. I will not state the companies that I work with because, but today I'm here as a political analyst, most especially.
Alright, kusi, karibu sana. Na usizungushe kiti sana. Watu wanasema wanapotea kwa kamera.
Oh, yes.
Sit still. Alright, it's a pleasure to have you. Haya, Maina, utatuombea? Lenda Sunday school?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so
we can say the Lord's Prayer.
Alright.
Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Amen.
Okay. Especially where you're saying they forgive you as you forgive your trespassers. Yes. I hope you're going to remember to forgive your trespassers this morning. All right, it's a pleasure to have you this morning. Good to see you. Good morning, waiting for the tackle. Good morning to you. Koske Fela, watching from Nakuru. Good morning to you. Koske, I'm happy to see you this morning as well on the tackle. Colin Skipet, good morning. Gerald Bitok, I'm tuned in from Kapsawad in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Come on, Sarah, good to see you, mame. One tackle, my only TV station. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. Sante sana, Kabon. Nikitembea hiyo area, sisi bonda kutafuta tukunywe chai. Jane Mombe, good day and God bless. Thank you so much, Jane Mombe, from Safaris by Jane. Good to see you this morning. You're doing well as well. Please let us know where you're tuning us from this morning, and keep sharing the broadcast. Keep sharing the broadcast. Make sure broadcast inatembea kabisa, alafu tuweze kuzungumza pamoja. Now, there is a trouble in paradise. The north has gone south. But before that, I still want to remind you that kama wewe ni mkulima, hakikisha kwamba unapata bidhaa yako ama malisho yako ya mifugo kutoka Fugo Feeds Limited ama kutoka Fugo Feeds, chakula ambacho kinatengenezwa na Unga Farm Care East Africa Limited. If you are a farmer, please ensure that you can get your animal feeds from Fugo Feeds. You can ensure that you can get Fugo Feeds from Unga Farm Care East Africa Limited. Please ensure that you can get it. Why do we tell you to get your feeds from them? First of all, it's 100% safe for consumption by your animals. Wakati mwingi unapata kwamba unanunua chakula ya mifugo na mifugo inakuwa na ile sumu ya chakula ama feed poisoning. We are guaranteeing that the safety of fugo feeds is 100% guaranteed. Secondly, is a nutritional formulation of fugo feeds that ensures that you get the best production, you get the best production from your units or from your animals. Kama ni ng'ombe, na kisha kama unapata maziwa zaidi, maziwa maradufu kutoka kwa ng'ombe wako. Kama ni kuku, na kisha kama unapata mayai zaidi, na pia afya ya kuku wako inakuwa safi zaidi. Kuna watu ambao wanaitwa growers, kuna kuku ambao unasema kama unataka chakula ya nyama, it ensures that it gives you the best body weight. Kuku wako ukimshika unasikia kweli kuna kilo kabisa. So hakikisha kama unalisha mifugo yako na Fugo Feeds kutoka Unga Farm Care East Africa Limited. If you're also doing nguruwe, if you are a pig farmer, and I've said it several times, wacha nguruwe yako wanatanga mtaani. Tafadhali nunulia chakula kutoka Fugo Feeds, alafu kisha kama unapata mavuno zaidi ama mavuno maradufu. Kama ni nguruwe utapata kwamba kilo ni safi, and also the meat is very clean and perfect for the market. It cannot be rejected by anybody. If you're also doing fish, kuna ile ambayo itofugo tilapia. Kama unaweza kufuga samaki, kuna watu ambao wanafuga samaki sana, na unafanya biashara ya kufuga samaki, kisha kama unapata chakula yako ya Fugo tilapia kutoka Unga Farm Care East Africa Limited ama Fugo Feeds, unaweza kupata mapato zaidi. Nasema hivi katika Fugo Feeds nasema kwamba malezi bora unapata mapato zaidi. Malezi bora mapato zaidi. Fugo Feeds, malezi bora mapato zaidi. Na pia niko na zawadi nitakuonyesha. If you are a consumer of Fugo Feeds by Unga Farm Care East Africa Limited, please send me a picture of you and the product. I'll surprise you. Nitumie picha yako na any product ya Fugo Feeds, basi naweza kukuzawadi haraka upesi sana. Naambia kwa nini unatumia chakula ya Fugo Feeds. Alright, Siasa Wednesday edition, the 29th of May 2023, and it begins right now. Trouble in the north goes south. The properties of Uhuru Kenyatta, the family of Uhuru Kenyatta, the Kenyatta family, apparently were attacked by goons, and they walked away with kondo. Walikuwa nauza hapo bei ya jioni kwa barabara. Wengine walikata miti, wengine wakajenga nyumba zao za mabati, makeshift houses, which were destroyed yesterday. And now the leaders have continued to throw in accusations among each other. What exactly is going on? David?
I think it's a very unfortunate situation that's going on in the country. The president had come out very strongly to speak against these kind of activities that we're seeing, because it's starting to look like there's a descent into anarchy. So I think this all began with Raila Odinga's maandamano, because he went and put it into the people's minds that there are extra legal or extra constitutional means of getting your political goals met. And this was also echoed by Raila's stalwarts. For example, Sifuna went and told people that wherever you go and see a government function or event going on, and it's your taxes that have paid for that thing, even if they have the food is for guests, you can go and help yourself to that food. So that's idea that we can set aside the law, our norms as a society, even our culture. I think that is the problem that we have in our country. And, I don't think this is solely about this election. This is also about our past as a country. In 2007, 2008, this country was split into two. We were practically in civil war. It's just by luck that we got out of this situation early. So a lot of people still have that trauma and those feelings from that period of time, because we never did a reconciliation, we never did a fact-finding. The whole process was taken outside of Kenya. So we didn't figure this situation out for ourselves like South Africa did. So I think that we have to be very careful with our country. We cannot afford to burn our country down. And I would like to say, as chairman of Vijana and Kazi that I condemn any acts of lawlessness, theft, violence, murder, and I'd like to urge the youth to refrain from these kind of activities and to resist being used by politicians. Because at the end of the day, if you're out there and you get hurt, that's on you. If you're out there and they take your pictures and put you on DCI, that's on you. So you have to be responsible and make sure that you're not used by politicians, whichever side it is. As young people, this is a time for you to figure out how we're going to get out of the economic hole that we're in and wait for the opportunities that the government is bringing. If politicians have problems, let them solve them by themselves. But if we managed not to fight during the elections, and that's when things were hot. If we didn't fight during the elections, if we didn't fight when this thing was in Supreme Court, if we didn't fight after that, why are we fighting now? What's there to fight over? What does Mwananchi get? What does the youth get? So at the end of the day, these acts of lawlessness and criminal activity should be fully condemned, and we should really think about our country as we go on. And I'd like to urge Mr. Odinga to really rethink this maandamano that he's doing, because maandamano without regulation leads to outbursts of violence and other kinds of crime. So I think we really have to be sober as a nation before we take a wrong turn.
But those guys looked very coordinated and they knew what they were coming to do. You could say they've come from a distance and they knew exactly where we were going and what they were going for. Do you think these people are not mobilized?
You know,
what you're trying to say is that it's an activity that came as a response to a demonstration, or maybe just part of the demonstration. And I mean, that's something that it just happened. But by the way, unaenda mpaka Kamakis. Yeah, barabara ni mbali, sijui kama umefika hapo.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way you can find yourself there without a plan.
I don't think that, a blame game is going to help much at this point. But what I believe is that if you see from the footage I saw, you see someone carrying a sheep and putting it on his neck. Yeah, this is clearly somebody who's from the vicinity. This is someone who lives around there. So I think this is someone maybe who sees these areas daily. They see the eucalyptus trees and, So I don't think this is someone who was mobilized from somewhere different. Probably these are people from around that area. So we hear that there are some people there from Roy, where there had been some demolitions, over the past few years and such. So, I think this idea of doing things outside of the law, including those illegal demolitions, it leaves something in the hearts of the people. And then when there's an opportunity for chaos, some people might take advantage. I don't think that, because you see people are buying these things on the road. Yeah. There are also customers there. Have those customers been mobilized by anybody? That is what happens when there's a breakdown of law and order. So what I believe we should do is be sober and talk to our supporters on both sides and make sure that our country comes first. Yeah. If we did not fight during the election, we don't need to fight now.
Okay, right. If we did not fight during elections, we don't need to fight now, right? Before I get to our sister Kimunto, Simon Nyankoru, good morning to you, Kenny Liva, good morning, Bitok watching from Go, good to see you. Washira Wamwema, tuned in from Embo, VP Gerald Bitok, good morning to you, Washira, good to see you. As well, Coach Pato, good morning, Bitok, Baringo is watching, Asante Collins Kibet, live from Washington State, USA. Sasa General Fiti Sana Collins, and thanks so much for always being the number one supporter of the tackle. You saw that dude Chip Kimba watching from Bomet, weather in a kavi vibaya sana. Hata Nairobi pia hapa ni hatari, but at least we thank God it's raining. Mulime shamba. Unajua nilisema hivi, unga inatoka kwa mahindi. Limeni, endeni kwa shamba. Wale watu ambao kunanyesha mahali ulipo, enda shambani. Moses Scott, good morning, Toggle, good morning to you, Manu Quiet, good morning, sir, tuned in from Doha, Qatar. Good to see you, Manu. Kibichie myself after put my brother. Asema pole chairman kwa Oma, thought we had a new host. Ni kubaya bwana. Tumene kakitu ya maji moto. Haya, Washira wa Mwema, property of common wananchi was also stolen and destroyed. Hii ya Uhuru sio special. Wow. President Elisha anasema anatuma asante sana Skamaburu. Were there no police guarding the former president's farm? Something ain't right. Our sister, what do you think about that?
Genuinely speaking, I feel like for the past few months, the deputy president has been spewing, I wouldn't say insults, but he's not been using the right communication channel, the right use of words. Like he'd go and instigate something, like he'll say something to hurt the opponents. And on the other hand, we've also seen Ichung'wah saying some words that have come to attack him. And yesterday, he's been facing a lot of backlash. People saying that apparently it's him and Moses Kuria who sent goons to Uhuru's land to steal the sheep and whatever. And I'd want to say this, as a communication strategist, I understand that also the deputy president has an office where genuinely, you have to have someone in communication who will tell you, this is what you're supposed to say, this is not what you're supposed to say. He's been speaking as if he's in opposition, and yet he's in government. And his words might be the causes that have instigated that Raila and his team have come out to form the maandamano. He's been saying things that actually we wouldn't expect a deputy president to say. And what I'd love to say is all this violence, it all comes from words. For Baba to come out and say, Twendeni maandamano, people know he's not telling people, let's go out with placards and seeing unga ishukishwe chini. He's saying maandamano is violence. When Ichungwa comes out and says, if they're attacking us, we should also attack their lands, he's also instigating something. So at the end of it all, we need to be serious as a country on what we say, especially if you're a key personality, a key leader, someone who the society looks onto in terms of communication, in terms of direction, and in terms of policy and everything. We need to be cautious. And yes, I will want to praise the deputy president again, because I looked at his Nyanza tour and he was a little bit calm. He didn't go astray with his words. Like, I'll focus on the agenda. At least he's now speaking as a deputy president. Before, he was speaking as someone in opposition, like an opposition leader fighting someone. He was still bitter, probably because the government has frustrated him from before. But I'm happy as we're going forward, he's speaking as a leader. And I feel like we wouldn't have gotten to where we are if people were cautious about what they said. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, do you think the Northlands attack was planned, or it's just a coincidence?
I feel like I will say it. Allow me to speak as a politician, and I might say some things that do not make sense. And politics is always free to. People always have different opinions. With politics, there's nothing that is straight. I will say this. I feel like probably the attack didn't come from government. I'm not siding with the government, but I feel like if it came from the government, I think tunafaa tujiulize maswali nyingi. Serikali ni nini? It does not make sense. But I feel like from what Ichungwa said, you can use it to instigate something. You know, when I come here and I say fanyeni hi, fanyeni hivi, these words can come to haunt me in a few weeks' time or in a few days' time. People can use my words against me. So I feel like if Ichungwa was careful with what he said, probably we wouldn't be here. Because right now everyone is saying probably he's the one who instigated all this violence because of something probably he said out of anger. But I do not feel like, if there's someone who is advising government, I feel like if you agreed to this, probably you should be packing your things and going home, because I feel like it's not a good show if it's government. But I do feel like it might be orchestrated from the other side, from the opposition side, because I feel like at the end of it all, who has to gain? Is it the government gaining, or is it the opposition? Definitely the opposition is gaining. Now the government is under attack for attacking the former president's land. Also, another thing I agree with Ichungwa, kwani tumuliacha shamba tu ika hivyo, and people are saying, they called who a non-police officer is now giving statements. Genuinely speaking, I don't feel like if someone came into my land and they were stealing so many amounts of sheep and I'm protected by the state, it doesn't make sense. It beats logic. It beats logic, generally speaking.
So let me ask you. So the story was running on TV for several hours, actually, part of the day. Mm-hmm. Took police 24 hours to go to site.
Did they report it?
I don't know. But if I was being attacked here, and being beaten, and everybody's in the news that I'm being beaten, the police who are close here to Kilimani, they will not come at least waniokoe hata kidogo, hata kama nimepigwa kidogo waniokoe katikati.
I think on the issue of the police, I think we also have to understand the police. Yeah, okay. The Inspector General had asked Raila Odinga to provide him with a route of his maandamano, the planned places that he intends to visit. Mr. Odinga refuses to cooperate with the law. So what we see is statements telling us that we're going to go and do maandamano and we don't care about your permission or whatever, because the Constitution says we can picket and we can protest. But the only problem is that there's never been a peaceful demonstration associated with Raila Odinga. So the police have to be on high alert, because, we cannot afford to let our country slide back into 2007, 2008. So for you to be safe here, Bitok, police have to be on all roads. Police have to be in town. Police have to be on high alert everywhere. And you do hear the opposition saying that we don't care about what the police do because we outnumber the police, that the police cannot hold us down. So there's also that burden that the police has. And we'll remember that Uhuru never did any reforms for the police. The last reforms that were done for the police were done by Kibaki. So we sometimes you can understand that the police have a higher workload. Okay. And then on top of that, we cannot say that this thing was happening in Northlands as an isolated incident. There was also maandamano going on. Yeah, Raila Odinga was moving from Lavington to Kawangware to other places. Yeah, so the police are trying to keep up with him because he refused to provide a route map of his protests. So they're trying to keep up with him, and then Makau Mutua shows us a video of Raila's bodyguards with police communications. So they have police communications there, and they're using that to trick the police. So they go to Naivasha Road so that it looks like they're going to get out of Wayaki Way. So the police have to go and move officers all the way to Wayaki Way because you don't know what to anticipate. And then you hear that, I don't know, he has used the Panya route, now he's on Ngong Road. Then you're thinking, oh, what do we do? So you go and mobilize other officers and get them there. So, it really just throws your operations into a frenzy.
So you're saying,
and then on top of this, now when he gets out of these, when he's using these Panya routes, now you don't know, is he going to CBD? Is he going to Kibera? How do we respond to these things? And then the fact that he has police communications, are the police communications now safe? They have to go regroup and strategize. So I think when IG Kome said that they responded swiftly, maybe they could have gotten there earlier, but we have to understand that the workload when Raila Odinga is, on his march of destruction is also a bit much. So I think that in the future, to avoid these kind of things, I would really, really request the president to hire 20,000 new GSU officers every year. And within 3 years, we'll not have these issues of bandits, we'll not have these issues of destructive mandamano and such. This country will be very, very safe. Yes, exactly. Thank you very much.
Yes. Nobody will be GSC. Anyway, now, there is also an angle of things that have come out across, and I'm also seeing it's coming up now, even on the comment section. And it's about the hypocrisy of Kenyans, that there are Kenyans who have lost property already. There are women who are raped in Mathare. There are crazy things that have happened since this unrest began. And looks like every other person is speaking now, or the media is also focused on they did a whole cover of what happened in Northlands. But nobody's speaking about a common citizen who lost property, 20 million worth of stock in Tasia, as Mundi Mausi, talking about women who were raped, and we're talking about people who have been stabbed. I see there's a report of guys who are in hospital who were stabbed, knife stabbed, guys who were shot. There is a police car which was burnt. And now what is coming out very strongly now as a question is peace, or is it protection only for those who have the means of power?
Nyabuto. Also, as the people were asking, why were the police when Uhuru's Shamba was being invaded? We should also ask ourselves, you expected the police to go to only Uhuru's Shamba to protect him, and yet there are business owners in the CBD who've voted for this government, who expect the same security from the government. We also have residents who expect the same security from the police force, and it's only one person who is making this disruption. So we have to make sure that Roysambu is safe, we have to make sure the CBD is safe, then we have to go back and ensure only one person's Shamba is safe, yet there are people who are staying in the ghettos who've really suffered due to the mandamanos. Probably their houses have been, I can't say torched, but I can say maybe they've been destroyed. I can say businesses have been destroyed. I can say people have died, people have been hurt. But we have to focus on the former president, because all of a sudden his sheep matter instead of my business in the downtown or in uptown. It beats logic. The police have to protect every other Kenyan, and I feel like it does not matter who you are. It does not matter whether you're the former president, whether you're the lowest of the Mwananchi. The police need to protect us equally. So if the police were not able to get there in time, probably they were protecting someone in Mathare. So yeah, we need to give the police a break. And yet, generally speaking, they are also outnumbered. If you looked at the number of people going into the Shamba and stealing all those things, you can't even send 5 police officers to do. They're watapigwa, and they'll be outnumbered. So yeah, it beats logic. Hata sisi tunataka tuchungwe, and we can't blame the government for that. Genuinely, we can't blame the government for that. Yeah.
All right. Now, there's another thing that really worries me, David Maina.
Yes.
And it is about, are we beginning to mainstream Hanaki? Because do you imagine what will happen if the retaliatory attacks begins? Because I've seen there's a tweet by Azimio TV, and it's saying, dear court, we need your help compiling a comprehensive list of properties, businesses, houses, farms, children, spouses, girlfriends, and everything about Rigathi Gachagua, Ndindi Nyoro, Kimani Ichung'wah, Moses Kuria, and George Theuri. Share in comments and replies, please. Now, what I see here is a situation where they're saying, okay, fine, you are attacking our properties, we're also coming to attack your properties. Now, are we just about to roll the wheel of anarchy?
I think this is the problem in our country, this big man syndrome. Like if Raila coughs, the whole country gets a flu. Why should it be like that? So a lot of people's property was damaged. Uhuru's farm was invaded, an act that we condemn. But on the other hand, the people who do businesses like hawkers, people who do business like shoe shining, the person who roasts maize on the roadside, the hawker, these people might not own a plot. They might not have goods on a plot. But what they have is their daily hustle. If he does not hustle, he does not have food for himself and for his family. So you're adding on to him because he might have to borrow. Yeah? Or maybe he does not even have a facility to borrow. So you're infringing on his right to work. And if you infringe on his right to work, you infringe on his right to earn money to own property. So we're focused on somebody who already has the property, while we forget all those other millions of people who cannot work on Monday, who cannot work on Thursday. People are living on a shoestring budget from hand to mouth. How is it then that you're going to remove 2 working days from them? How is a family supposed to operate? Even here in Kibera, where Raila Odinga was, inciting people and telling them to remove government, so many people are going to work here in the morning, right? So if you tell people not to work for 2 days, what happens? So why is it that we always think about these big people, that if something happens to Uhuru's farm, and even Jubilee and Azimio people are saying, what's 70 million in damage to Uhuru? It's nothing. He doesn't even know that he owns those sheep. Yeah. Why should we give more importance to one person than other people? And I think maybe to the people who are, carrying that revenge narrative, that's really the message they're trying to give, maybe in an undiplomatic way, that Kenyans should all be equal. And this is a government for everyone. This is the first government that came in and said that we want to work for hustlers. Yeah, we've gotten off to a bit of a slow start, but we have to be given credit that we're putting the country in the right direction. But at the end of the day, we cannot say that if you fund maandamano, if you take away people's right to work, if you injure people, if you kill people, even police officers are being wounded, that if something small happens to you, all of a sudden, now it's anarchy. When the president is telling people, let's not descend into anarchy, they don't listen. There's anarchy for the hustlers. There's anarchy for all businesses. So at the end of the day, I think we really just have to be more considerate towards each other as Kenyans. Just because you have power and you have a voice does not mean that you get to use wananchi the way you want. So I think it's regrettable that we've gotten to this point. I truly believed that as a country we were past this.
Do you think it's getting any better? Do you think it's going to get any better?
I think that things will improve.
Okay.
Yes, I think that things will improve. Let's wait for the president to come back, and I'm sure that he'll put order in this country.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, there's been calls for dialogue across board from the clerics and yesterday also from the AU. They're saying that Raila Odinga and President William Ruto need to sit down and iron out their differences for the sake of the country, or the sake of the unity of the country. What exactly is dialogue and what should we expect? What do you think? Do you support that?
Genuinely, I don't support dialogue between the two. I remember when government was being formed, that is in around September, October. I remember Raila was asked, if you don't make it as president, will you take it in and accept it? He said, yes, I will take it. I'll take it peacefully and I will move forward. And I remember even after elections, there were no political instability. The government moved on forward. The country was peaceful. And at this point in time, if Raila felt like probably the Supreme Court didn't do him justice, if he felt like if there was any time that Raila would have gone to the streets, it would have been at that time. Also, another thing I don't support, I don't support dialogue between the two is in every country there has to be government and there has to be opposition. And just because you're in opposition and it means you did not make it to government does not mean that every day you will tell people close for 2 days because we're in opposition, twende to bomoe kuinje. For those Kenyans who do not know, the office of the opposition is actually funded. Yes, it is purely funded. So wewe uka unapeleka huko nje, wewe unajua kuna mtu anaingisha pesa kwa mfuko yake. Yes, the office of the opposition. Yes, it gets funds. It's supposed to be funded.
Juliet, there's an office
of the opposition. Yes.
I thought it's a proposal. It was a proposal in parliament.
Yeah. Okay. There's the opposition office. Yes.
The proposal. It's not yet.
All right.
Too.
Okay, even if it's not there. All right, I will say this. Yes, probably they're funded by someone somewhere. So you're coming out, you've delayed on your hustle, you've delayed on everything that you're doing. You're going out there to fight for someone who, when they go home, they're going home to their mansions and their bungalows, and you're going back home probably maybe to your shack, to your small living area, and this person does not care whether you die, whether you'll be detained, whether anything will happen to you. For them, it's, I have to prove a point to this government, because this government is not the government. I was to be president, and this person is not supposed to be president, so I will do whatever it takes to frustrate this person and force this person to live in a very worrisome state, to make their leadership not being able to do their best in their leadership, all because you feel like you had to be president. I genuinely do not agree, and I also feel like Ruto will not agree, and his camp will not agree for the dialogue, because at the end of the day, Ruto really worked so hard. He bet a lot of odds to be president. I mean, people were surprised. People expected, because there was the talk of us, we're in government, we will get this. Chebukati cannot announce if the president is for Raila. Why should they announce Ruto? And Ruto bet all odds to make president. You think he will come back and sit down and decide? No, even his own camp will not allow that. I believe there is room for opposition. If you feel like the government is not doing it, there are better channels. If you feel like you have to go to the streets, wear your t-shirts, carry your placards, do it in a peaceful way, say bei ya unga iko hivi. But if you say we have to destroy businesses, we have to do this, and it's the common man at the end of the day, the common mwananchi who is genuinely suffering, I feel like it beats all logic. I feel like it does not make sense, and genuinely this is the same script. It was done in 2007, it was done in 2013, it was done in 2017, it's now 2023. We are tired. Kenyans need to move on. We need a new fresh set of leaders, and I'm happy that Ruto bet all odds. It means that a young man like him, the young man from UDA, also has the dream of being president. Even me myself, I can say pia mimi naona venye Ruto ameingia hapa, I can make president. Someone from Kamkunji, someone from Mathare can also say, even me, I can make president. If Ruto was able to do it, I'm able to do it. So I feel like we also need a new fresh set of leaders. I feel like Baba has done his best. He will not go down with us not appreciating his efforts, but I feel like time is up. Same script all over again. We are tired. Kenyans are tired, especially the young Kenyans. We are tired. Yes, the economy is at shambles, and we should also understand that it is not Ruto's government that has put the economy here. We need to understand the effect of COVID-19. We also need to understand the effect of the Ukraine-Russian war. So yeah, a lot of things. Yes, the government is not in its best place. Give it time. He's not 1 year in office. Give him time. Give him 1 year. If he does not perform, then come back and say, yes, we gave you time. You've not done anything. But 6 months, it beats logic. Yeah.
Okay. Dialogue. Don't you think we have a country to live in? And they have said that the country belongs to all of us, and the clergy and the AU are calling for dialogue. What do you think? Are we not supposed to country dialogue?
I don't think that dialogue is the precondition for peace in Kenya, because when we were in the opposition, William Ruto tried to get the church to negotiate on his behalf and ask Uhuru for them to come and sit down and talk so that they avoid any problems. And we wanted to talk without conditions. Right? And the church went and asked on our behalf. And what did Uhuru do? Uhuru went and called pastors conmen. He called pastors thieves. And he said that pastors will go to hell. Yeah? We did not go to the streets. We did not throw... There's no Kenyan who has ever eaten UDA stones. No Kenyan. Yeah? Us in UDA, we've never even eaten tear gas. The person who has eaten tear gas in UDA is the president. Yeah? When they tear gassed him in a church in Murang'a. Yeah. So us guys, we went and did our peaceful demonstrations. In fact, I remember the people from the opposition who are telling us that as UDA, if we're not able to cause violence, then we're just flower girls. But at the end of the day, the Kenyan people have decided that we are at an era where it's a time for mature politics. And that's the decision that they made at the ballot. So we did not need dialogue to prosecute our case to the Kenyans. And in any case, the time for dialogue was before the elections, and the people you dialogue with is mwananchi. Did Raila go and dialogue with Mwananchi? No. He was in Safari Park Hotel with the Mabwenyenye. Those are the people he was dialoguing with. Even at the rallies, he was in a hurry. People were being given 10 seconds to speak. Juliet was harassing everybody on the stage. Yeah, I don't think they even gave the youth a chance to speak. Maybe just one or two slay queens who were given an opportunity, whereas the people who are working the real nuts and bolts of their side did not get an opportunity. We're seeing the same recycled people coming over and over again. They're not listening to their own constituency. So if they can't listen to their own people, which kind of dialogue do they want with us? Because at the end of the day, whatever happens, we have to be rational, we have to be logical. We do not want Sarakasi, we don't want Tibim, we don't want Tialala. If you're coming to discuss with us, you come as a Kenyan. The president will listen to everybody, even a madman. Yeah. So if you have ideas, yeah, and you want to come and talk about ideas, that's fine. But if you want to come and negotiate or probably relitigate the election that's gone, that is with Mwananchi, and Mwananchi will listen to you again in 2027. So if you're coming to the table with conditions, there's not going to be dialogue. But if you want to come and help build our country, if you want to help the president with his agenda, because I see now that Azimio are very interested in our manifesto. They're saying, oh, you did not fulfill this, which means they agree with our manifesto. Then instead of criticizing, why don't you come and help us? Come and tell us over here on the dollar, we think you can do this, this, and this. Come and tell us over here with Tanzania, we can improve our relations like this. Come and tell us with the guns that are coming from South Sudan, this year is what we can do. On this bandits issue, there's something we found out that can help you. Yeah, but that's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to increase pressure on everything. They're trying to cause chaos. How do you discuss with people like this? That's like negotiating with terrorists.
Do you think you're also being unfair to Azimio? Because Azimio, do you think Azimio is actually raising very pertinent and salient issues on the cost of living? Wewe unasikianga aje ukienda supermarket leo unasikianga kashilingi kanaenda aje?
Me, I'm very sensitive to these prices, yeah? And, you know, this is why I'm very surprised by Azimio. You see, they're complaining about the cost of living. Let's just use unga because, you know, the politics of ugali in Kenya is too hot. They left the price of unga at 230. That 100 bob unga was a lie. They left the price of unga at 230. Today, the price of unga, if it's high, will be at around 180. So they're in the streets saying that they want William Ruto to go home because the price of unga has fallen from 230 to 180. There's no logic there. Yeah? You remember very well, in the last few months of the Kenyatta administration, there's a time when there was no fuel in this country. The supply was on and off. That is a systemic risk to the economy. Yeah. So right now, we do not have any problems with the supply of fuel. And when it comes back to unga, by the way, people have been complaining about the subsidy. In fact, it was Peter Munya, former agriculture CS under Uhuru Kenyatta's administration, who removed the subsidy for unga. He removed it in the last few days when they were in office. They actually did remove it. So they cannot come and tell us that the cost of living, you know, is low, therefore we go home. They're the ones who put it up in the first place. These problems that we have with the oil supply, we know that there are cartels that have been hijacking our petrol supply. There are cartels that had been hijacking our maize, the maize imports and other kind of things that didn't make sense. Cooking oil, we know that it's cartels as well. So, of course, when a new president comes in, you'll have to struggle a bit with the cartels, just like the governors. Whenever there's a new governor, you have to fight with people, the ghost workers, the people in there trying to sabotage you. This is just par for the course in Kenya. And they're trying to make sure that the government does not work. Even when we were campaigning, we were telling people, and please, even when we get in, there might be some difficulty, because we know that they're planning to sabotage the economy for 2 years. And they've done this at every chance they've got. Ever since they were with Kibaki, when Raila was with Kibaki, he was appointed roads minister, very powerful docket, and immediately started attacking Kibaki, even when Kibaki was sick. Can you imagine? Kibaki comes with a good plan for the country and he's sick. Raila is hitting him, trying to overthrow things, do constitution changes. And then 2007, after the war, and he was given nusu mkate, he was planning to collapse the government again by 2010. It's just that Kibaki's side outsmarted him again. When Uhuru got in 2013, that time now I think is when he accepted that he had lost and he went away for 6 months. He only came back because he had that Waigoro as CS devolution. Alikuwa amepiga Kibera buffing kidogo, things were starting to improve. She was putting up buildings, you know, water and other things. Then he realized he's going to lose his constituency. And he came back and that's why his politics started. And that's why he decided that Waigoro has to go down no matter what. Yeah, and that's how we lost an excellent CS devolution. But you can see how workers followed behind Kirinyaga. So for Raila Odinga, this is what happens. When he doesn't get what he wants, it's chaos. And Uhuru Kenyatta gave in to him. But this time round, we're glad that we have a leader who is firm, a leader who is resolute, a leader who knows what he's doing, and a leader who is competent. So I don't expect that William Ruto will give in to any kind of dialogue that comes with conditions. If he wants to talk as a citizen, he is a citizen of this country. But under no other circumstances where you're telling us that you have to be accommodated or what. I think William Ruto is even a very gracious person. He's a gentleman because he won and he said that he'll give Raila Odinga the office of the leader of opposition, which Raila Odinga removed from the original constitution because he thought he was going to win in 2013. So he wanted to weaken the opposition. So William Ruto is actually giving him a golden bridge. Yeah. But he's refusing that because he thinks that he can get that co-president deal. And that one is completely out of the question.
Okay. Let me ask you, Juliet, don't you think Azimio are actually raising real issues? As a Kenyan, what do you feel about the issues that they're raising? The cost of living, what else are they raising? I think majorly the cost of living, mambo ya saba hiyo ni siasa. I mean, what's your feeling?
The issue is not the issue being raised. The issue is how are you raising the issue? Okay. You understand what I'm saying? You don't tell us to start breaking things in CBD in the name of unga imepanda. How is those polls in the CBD associated with unga? How is throwing stones associated with unga? If Raila feels like the government probably is not doing a good job, he's allowed to come in as a consultant, consult with the government, provide policy, advise them in the best way he can. He can also come on media. Media is free. You can come, state your. He even has his own channel, the Azimio TV. He can sit on Azimio TV and say, Mr. Ruto, I want to address you. I feel like for unga to nini. But going to the streets to frustrate the president because of bei ya unga, you know, those are two totally different things. If genuinely speaking, you care about the price of unga, let's talk unga. If you want to fight us, then let's fight us. If you want violence, let's do violence. If you want unga, let's do unga. Yes, don't mix unga and violence. They cannot sit together. Because hata hiyo pesa yenye unatumia kwenda kufuel gari, kwenda kufanya hiyo maandamano, why not buy sacks of maize or sacks of unga and go to Mathare and give them out? Those politicians have a lot of money. They have a lot of businesses. They can as well as do CSR and go and give out unga. Mbona to fuel gari tuende tusumbue mapolisi wachapwe waumie, watu waumie pia wananchi in the name of unga. If it's unga, let's focus on unga. Kama ni unga tuongelele unga. Tusilete maneno ya huku kando ati sijui hasira ya election ulilose, sijui mara mwingine hataki kulipa ushuru. It does not make sense. It does not make sense. Raila should focus on
the issues
unga.
That are being raised are not real.
Yeah, it is real, but how they are being raised is what does not make sense. Tuangalie unga venye unga inafaa iangaliwe. To focus on unga and unga. Kama ni violence tuseme sisi hatutaki Ruto na tumeamua hatutaki Ruto. Then let's focus on that. But if we are talking about unga, let's focus on unga. Yeah. Let's focus on unga.
Right. So now, anyway, as we move on from that as well, Raila Odinga, of course, say that he's not going to relent. Kesho tena, ni holiday. Kesho ni tear gas Thursday. And he said he's not going to relent. He'll continue with his demos. The government as well continues, like you were saying, okay, the way you're speaking, the government has continued to have its very hard stance on its position. I heard Rigathi Gachagua saying that there's no handshake loading. There's no conversation that we're going to have with Raila Odinga. Now, where do you see this going? Maina, where do you see this going? In all honesty, where do you see it going? And are you worried? Are you not worried?
Personally, I'm not very worried because, as my sister here has put it, this generation is not like these other ones that have gone by, where you see those instances of intense hatred and tribal. That's not there for this generation. And this generation is exposed. They see how things are going on in other countries. People are on TikTok, on Facebook, on other things, so they can see what's going on in other countries, and they don't see any other country that is run like Kenya. So I think this is politics that's going to expire with Raila Odinga, and very soon he'll realize that people are not with him. What he's doing right now is just nuisance value. So the government cannot give in to somebody who's just doing things for nuisance value. Even you Bitok, you'd not feel safe if Raila. What if Raila goes and gets his handshake, and then tomorrow David Maina says, "Me, I want to be part of that handshake also, and I'm going to ban things down because the price of unga is not yet up." Can we live like that? So it means that everybody will just be a warlord. We'll turn into Somalia or we'll turn into South Sudan. We cannot live like that. So if there's a government that's been legitimately elected by the people of Kenya, then I think it has the right to, defend the will of the people. as expressed in an election. Okay. So I don't think that this dialogue with conditions helps anybody. It's just nuisance value, pure and simple. This is just tantrums that Raila is throwing. And the problem with these tantrums of his is that people die. And those deaths are what he uses to negotiate. Because now when the AU comes, people are putting pressure and saying, now I don't know what happened. You must sit, you must talk. But at the end of the day, even those countries where these AU people come from, they don't operate like that. Nobody's operating like that. Okay. So in this country, I think we have to figure out a final solution to this kind of issue. And I don't know whether it's going to be through legislation or what, but we need to sort this issue out. And if Mr. Odinga's concerns were real, why are they boycotting Parliament? Why are they boycotting Senate? That's where they should take their issues to. If the price of unga is a problem, they have an entire opposition that they lead. He refused to be leader of opposition. He has so many MPs, he has so many senators, he has so many MCAs, he has so many governors. Why not use those channels? Mm-hmm.
All right. Kabonsara is asking here, so chairman, are you in a revenge mission or what fahali wawili wakipigana Nyanzi will suffer? Nyasi ni wananchi, please. You are increasing pressure, chairman ya vijana. Msema unaongeza pressure sana. Asikamebu, I'm wondering is a sovereign state of somewhere. Thought Smartmatics owns patent rights, okay? Kabonsara, no office of opposition, it was a proposal, okay? Nixon Levanda did is an office of opposition. Okay, Savannah boy tuned in. Majaki, I agree with the lady. How can we see one person's property while our whole country is in danger? Washira wa mwema hayo now which differences? Shida ya hii nchi ni Raila, but now it's more because it's getting sponsorship from Kenyatta. Askamabur, is it true that Spectre was in business while the chief was out disrupting the businesses of other Kenyans? Really? Time to wake up Kenyans and smell the coffee. Susanna Butete Bado, good to see you. Good morning. Solomon, good morning. Kabonsa, surely, banning a mosque and church, it's all about stop talking about Uru's farm, talk about common mwananchi who have gone through what you are discussing. It doesn't adding up protecting the truth with lies. The Azimio is desperate, organizing goons even after hours of mandamano to portray government failure. For real, Gerald, Kenyans aren't blind. So if you're talking about Uru's farm, what about the supermarkets, the hardware, which was stolen instead of putting energy on mandamano? Let your energy inform Conan Bomet. John, no matter how much Maina speaks positive of the government of Kenya, it was shameful for what happened at Northlands. If the police never used Opposition stage orchestrated the assault on Uhuru land and profited from the ruling classes' recent utterances. Africa will be greatly affected by Kenya's impending reset, which will occur very soon. Wow, okay. Now, we are on the streets, of course, and we're talking about the state of the economy and the cost of living and everything else that revolves around the economy. We're talking about the feeling that is actually getting affected against it all. The economy that seems to be tanking, as well as you say, the cost of living that we on the streets are demonstrating. All these activities that we are seeing, what does it mean for the economy, Maina?
A normal work week in Kenya is 5 days. So if we have chaos and destruction on Monday, and we follow it up with chaos and destruction on Thursday, we move from a 5-day working week to a 3-day working week. That is a 40% drop in productivity across the country. So you can imagine what the effects of this are. The first day of Mandamano, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua announced to the nation that we lost 2 billion that morning. Just that morning, yeah? So you can imagine that if these Mandamano continue, and we can see how violent they were, nobody is going to school right now. We're even hearing some very, very worrying and concerning reports that because children are not going to school, that ODM is now using underage goons. They're recruiting underage people to go and do Mandamano now. Those ones who would be in high school, 16, 17 years old.
But I think you can only make such an accusation if you can prove it. Have you seen them?
We're getting these reports.
No.
Yeah? We have these reports. So we're hearing that they're even using young people.
I think you should withdraw that because you're speaking about minors. You're speaking about children, you're speaking about minors.
All right, we will verify and clarify.
So for now, you can withdraw.
All right, I will withdraw, Gerald.
Okay.
But you can see the kind of issues that are there right now. Education has been interrupted. So teachers are suffering their health. People cannot even get their health services. Sifuna the other day went and said that they're not going to allow ambulances when they're protesting. So that means that Kenyans will die on those roads who have nothing at all to do with Mandamano. Yeah, we're looking at businesses being closed. We're looking at hustlers not being able to make a living. During, in 2017, when Raila was doing his Mandamano, the banks were losing 1 billion shillings per hour. at the height of his protests, 1 billion shillings per hour, the country was literally going to sink. And what was the point of it? Did he go and take any reforms there? Did he talk about Baby Pendo? Did he talk about IEBC? Did he solve any of the issues? Did he bring back Miguna? Not at all. What happened? They continued to do state capture. They continued to borrow irresponsibly. They locked down this country and shut down so many businesses. So at the end of the day, we cannot allow that kind of impunity to continue. Because at the end of the day, we are a government who are elected on an economic basis. So we have to make sure that that is working. And if somebody wants to do maandamano, why not at least allow people to work for 5 days and then do your maandamano on Sunday or Saturday? Yeah, when people are off. You know, Sabbath is on Saturday for some, Sunday for some, but at the end of the day, work. How do you take a working day from somebody who's living hand to mouth? I think that's very irresponsible.
Juliet, we are complaining about the economies like you complaining about one short leg, saying you have one short leg, but now for you to treat it, you want to cut the other one. What does this mean about? What does it mean to the economy?
I'll say this. Genuinely, I feel like, I'll be honest, maybe it's my opinion, and everyone is free to share their opinion. I feel like Baba's force with maandamano sika kitambo. So genuinely, I feel like by the time we are approaching end of April, people will be tired. So I feel like it does not have longevity. It's something short-lived. It will not go past April, and if it does, I don't know how they'll be. I don't think Kenyans will be willing to go out there. Generally speaking, even right now as maandamano is happening, it's only small sections. It's yes, there's effects of it, but you cannot compare it to even in 2017. I think also Raila is losing touch of his maandamano figure that he has been known for. Another thing about the economy, I feel like a lot of businesses in CBD are being affected. Just as like my fellow colleague has said, we have seen that even the hawkers, the mamambogas, the small traders who work in the CBD are not able to make their daily bread at the end of the day, because sasa kuna maandamano Monday na Thursday, you cannot even hawk, you cannot bring your nyanyas and sell them in town, because first things first, no one is coming in town. Another thing is, these maandamanos are not peaceful. Nothing guarantees you of safety. Probably your business will be scattered or demolished, or something will happen. Another thing that I will say is we should also look at those people who are even going to work, like the normal people, maybe those working in corporate. They're not even able to go to work. Again, it's affecting the workforce, the people who are working. So, because utaona biashara ya mtu, maybe someone is a lawyer, you're not able to do business on Monday and on Thursday. Apart from the common traders, there's also those people who are also in business. They're not able to do business on Monday and Thursday. I feel like it's greatly affecting businesses, especially in the CBD. And if the president does not look for other alternatives, and if Raila is not smart enough, it will reach a point where probably businesses will be shut, probably the whole day. Okay, they have been shut, but it will reach a point where we'll be making a lot of losses. And I feel like this is what Raila wanted when he started the maandamanos. He wanted the business community to suffer so that they can put on pressure into the government and blame the government on why did you put us in this situation and this situation. But people should also understand that it is not the government that is putting them in that situation. It is someone who is selfish enough to feel like he owns Kenya, and he feels like he can stop business because he feels like it's about the power of mighties, who is more powerful, who is more who has the most numbers, who is ready to put the country at a standstill. But yes, we will not fail to acknowledge that the people in the CBD are making a lot of losses, and something has to be done, because as we have seen, Gachagua also made statements saying we've lost, I think it was 20 billion or 2 billion. 2 billion. And we also saw the governor of Nairobi coming forward and saying on the previous maandamano, I think that was on the 20th, they made half of what they make as a revenue in terms of the county. So I feel like, yes, it does affect business, but also I saw in the previous maandamano that, yes, people did open for a few hours, and then after some time things went down kidogo. But yes, I do feel like there's no longevity in the demos, but if there is, the government should look for a way to mitigate and find a solution for it. Yeah.
Naona Njonjo hapo YouTube amesema nimeleta watu wa pro government. I want to state that according to my knowledge, Juliet, last time I checked, Juliet was an Azimio member.
Yes. But I do not agree with maandamano.
Okay.
And yes.
So just for the records, Juliet is an Azimio member, and she disagrees with what is happening. So I didn't bring pro-government people. We are discussing an issue that she has a personal stand on, despite her being a member of Azimio. So
currently, I'll say I'm not a member of Azimio. My membership ended after the elections. I made peace with it, with the loss, and
lakini kuanguka inamaanisha unahama, so bado unakaa na watu wako.
No, I still stayed with him. I did support him, and then it reached penye maandamano nikasema hapana, because some of us were born in areas where we felt the impact of the 2007 post-election violence, and genuinely speaking, we do not want to go back there as a country. We saw what it did. Some of us lost relatives and friends, and for someone to come and say maandamano as if it's saying crisps or sugar, it's the same way he's saying unga. You cannot know. Violence breeds violence. For you to say violence, it's such a big term, and that's why when I started, I said we should be keen on what we are communicating as leaders. People look at us, they look at what we are saying, and they follow our footsteps. These words might be used against us. Words might also work for us. So for someone to say maandamano, and this person knows where we were in 2007, this person understands that in 2017, things got really tough, that some of us had to stay out of school, because I remember I was in campus by then. I had to stay out of school because I was scared of coming back to Nairobi. Even where I was coming from, I will not state where exactly, but I was even scared of coming out of the house because I identify as who, and we were against government, and where I came from, we met government by that time, and there was a lot of unrest. So for someone to come and say we have to go back there, I as a Kenyan, I as a youth, I as someone who went and voted in August, I have to say that maandamano will never be a resolution for something. If someone wants to make government, someone wants to be a part of government, someone wants a handshake, someone wants to make money out of government, let him make it alone. Let not innocent lives suffer. Let not businesses suffer. Let not people die in the name of, I want to prove a point that unga imepanda bei, mafuta imepanda bei, Wakenya wanaumia. So should we destroy property because unga imepanda bei? Like I said, kani unga tuongelele unga, kani mafuta tuongelele mafuta. And if it's violence, say, I am tired, I feel like Ruto does not want to be president. And then we can look for a way forward if it's office of the opposition or if it's the prime minister's office that you want that office to be returned back. We can look at that solution later. But as a child who faced the 2007 post-election violence, I will state categorically that I do not support whatever Raila Odinga is doing. I do not support maandamano, and I will never support violence. Yes.
Okay. That is clear enough. From Jonjo. Sunday, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Thomas Ucheng. Jonjo, you expect police to meet Azimio and their supporters pelting them with stones with rose flowers. Policemen are Kenyan human beings. With families, Raila must call off his maandamanos. Collins Epale, yes, the government is losing billions, but the same government doesn't want to loosen its stances. The Azimio Brigade will continue with the maandamano and the economy will be in tantrums. Okay. We'll continue losing billions of shillings and the government will also lose revenue. And in a wider perspective, it's the Kenyan people who will suffer more. Okay. Thomas Ocheng, Collins Epale, maandamano to what end? Ruto is duly elected president until 2027. So where Raila and people like you think Raila is a god and above constitution, Raila want to destabilize Kenya? No. Okay. Atom Kiumbe, politics is strategy. Raila has numbers of strategies on how to tackle Zakayo. Sasa wameanza kuibiana. Wow, Kenya Mbola. Azimio is engaged in economic banditry. The Supreme Court pronounced itself on the election, and that was final. Hiding behind the cost of living to cause chaos just to force handshake is nonsensical. I'll call it morning, Gerald. Falling from Eldama Ravine. Asante sana to Eldama Ravine. Timothy Njenga Njogo falling from Embo County. Mambo vipi? Ask Mabura, I'm wondering. I think I read that on the server. Let me just look at the headlines this morning. Looking at People Daily. Stay away from your office. Still cases at Jai tells new CSs. Ma CSs wameambiwa kaeni kando msingi ofisini. But by the way, I think the CSs are in office 2 weeks now. Okay. Stay away from office till cases at tells new Siasa. That's on page 3. 29 apply for Jabukati's job. 29 people have applied for Jabukati's job. Where? One of the 1,000 ways to die. Yeah? Kipara. Kama una kipara anza kupiga hesabu ya kipara. Page 3. ABC's election panel says it's acting within the law in response to Raila protest as it reveals 895 candidates have applied for the 6 positions of electoral commissioners. Stop the violence. AU clerics plead. African Union boss raises the red flag over political tension in Kenya. Proposes Ruto-Raila talks. Integration team calls political players to order. Warns of rise of hate speech in cases. Christian and Muslim clerics plead for sobriety. Say raid on charge. Most people risk of more violence. Okay. Equity group profit jumped to 46 billion. Good news there. 7 die as floods rains wreak havoc across Kenya. Okay, juzi tulikuwa tunasema kuna dry season. Hasa leo tunasema maji imekuwa mingi. Okay. Kenya yetu hiyo. Okay. As a people daily, looking in at enterprise standard enterprise, building a business you can sell. Okay, you can read kama unataka biashara standard, portrait of anarchy. President Ruto condemns impunity, says police operationally independent. Okay, I'll not be able to go much into the newspapers, but yes, that's the headlines. And I'd like to speak on something here. I think that I missed. Okay, that's on the People Daily. That's on IBC Constitution. Are we seeing another recipe for chaos in 2027? Maina?
I don't think that chaos around elections has anything to do with IEBC or any other grievances that people are raising. What has happened is that somebody somewhere thinks that because he has force, he has might, he has masses, that he can use that to get to power and not the ballot. Because these people were in power. Raila Odinga was a co-president. They went and told us that they had lost 4 elections before, but this time they were going to win because they finally have the system. Yeah. So which means that they were going to rig that system and use it to win. So when they were there and they were not able to use it, then how can they now come and say that IEBC is going to be rigged? If it was not able to be rigged by them, how will it be rigged now? And the process that's being followed. It's not that William Ruto is appointing IEBC in State House. There's a process in the law. So even Cherera 4, 3 of them resigned rather than face a commission. And the other one who faced the commission, she was found to, have behaved in an inappropriate manner. So there's nothing here that is outside of the law. There's no basis whatsoever for this continued war with IEBC. Raila Odinga is like a bad workman who blames his tools. He had Deep State, he had Uhuru, he had everything, and he did not win. So he's looking for Chebukati. Chebukati's only job is to tell us these 34 A's as they are on the ground by ODM and UDA agents, this is what they say. So if Odinga truly had a problem with the election, show us those 34 A's that you say have a problem. They don't want to show us that. They're talking about servers. There's nothing like servers in this election. It's a portal. And that portal was open for 6 months. And how convenient for them to start talking about servers when the portal has been closed. And that is also something that is in the law, which was put in when he went to court in 2017. So this is just a perennial loser who cannot accept that, people have moved on from his kind of politics. So there's nothing whatsoever that will cause violence in 2027 except Raila Odinga's rambunctiousness and his belligerent nature. That is what is causing war in this country. Nothing else.
Nyabuto.
Yes. Generally speaking, we had the elections announced. Chebukati announced the elections. We had the Supreme Court ruling. Raila accepted. For him to come back and say servers. But
the process of setting up IBC as it is now, that Raila Odinga has disputed and he has said is not legal. The setting up the new IBC commissioners and also the recruitment of the chairman. Raila Odinga said it's a process that's null and void and illegal. They say that it's partisan, that Ruto is setting up a Rua IBC. You better Rua IBC. What are your thoughts? Are we setting up another recipe for chaos in 2027?
I don't think so.
Because Raila amesema around 2027.
We wish him all the best. What I'll say is Chebukati became a commissioner during Uhuru's time, and during that time Chebukati has announced Uhuru as president, and he also announced Ruto as president. If Chebukati was being financed by the government, I feel like the person he should have announced would be Raila Amolo Odinga. So I feel like the IEBC was very independent, and I remember even Chebukati was strong, he was firm, and he said, I will announce the president I find fit from my calculations and from my reportings according to how people have voted. And if Kenyans felt otherwise, I feel like Kenyans would have gone to the streets and said, no, sisi hatukuwahi votea William Ruto. But I remember that day, people were celebrating, and we were like, hey, kumbe watu walipewa mse kura, sisi ndo tulikuwa nje, we thought we had this thing, we didn't have this thing. And some of us accepted and said, it is fine. If the Kenyans have decided that this is the person they want as president, then let him be. And people didn't have an issue until someone who was seated somewhere felt like, hii serikali haiwezi endelea bila mimi. I must make noise. I must make bread at the end of the day. And I feel like the IEBC is an independent commission. Again, we also have the Supreme Court. If they feel like 2027, maybe the results will be altered. Again, there's the freedom of the Supreme Court. You can also go to the Supreme Court if you feel like maybe wakura, bado kuna freedom ya Supreme Court. Also, I genuinely feel like Kenyans decide. It's Kenyans who decide. If you're not ready for an election, there are many things Azimio did, and I will not name them because we will not go back. But there are many things that Azimio did, and those are the things that made them not to be in government right now. If they did what they were supposed to do during election time, we wouldn't be here telling people to go to maandamano because someone somewhere decided that, since we are government and we do not need, probably say, for example, things like agents in our various polling stations and so what, because you are government and Chebukati definitely will announce you, we wouldn't be here. So if you do not do things the way they are supposed to be done, and then later on you come and blame an independent commission when you know very well probably maybe you didn't have agents and you're coming later on to say, the IEBC is not independent, then why wouldn't you have done your duty as someone who was vying and did the due process and made sure that even if maybe the IEBC had a problem, definitely maybe our agents will be able to provide evidence of what happened during that time. But now you're putting the court into a process of, like they said, wild goose chase, hot air, because you do not have evidence, you do not put your things in order. So again, if you don't put your house in order, 2027 will come and again you'll say, maybe wakura, because you did not put your house in order. And then you'll start telling people, I don't know by that time you'll be how old, because I'll be in my 30s, and I don't think by that time I will be willing to even listen to such stories of such sijui maandamano, sijui tunaenda kufanya nini, because I also feel like the generation that is coming behind me will not even want to, they will not even have the time to even, they will not even care to even care. So I feel like Imesha, like, you do your part, make sure your house is in order before you start attacking independent bodies like IEBC. If your house was in order, right now you would have maybe been president. If you put your house in order, probably 2027 you might be crowned as president. So yeah, we wish you the best, but do not attack IEBC when you yourselves didn't put your house in order. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right, guys, I request to end the broadcast, then melemewa kidogo. So we'll continue another time. I wish you could continue having a conversation, but maybe I can just take your calls of the day. I'll start with you, Maina.
For me, in the spirit of peace in the country, I'm not going to tackle anybody. I'll just make a request to the youth that you should not allow yourselves to be used by any politicians to go and destroy property, to kill other people, to rape other people, and just destroying the nation. Please go about your duties. If people are unsatisfied with the election, they know that 2027 is coming. Dialogue is with the people, not with your competitors. So for the youth in this country, please avoid being used in these things. And it's very sad that we see that it's the youth who are being used in Kibera, in Kisumu, and such places. So for the youth, please avoid this maandamano. There's no purpose, there's no point, and there's no benefit. If you burn down your country, there's no way Unga will come down. In fact, that's the surest way to make sure that Unga will never come down. So please, Kenyans, let's maintain order, let's maintain peace, let's love one another, and let's remember what Nyayo told us, peace, love, and unity. That's why there was stability during that time, because people had, people cared about this country, and we'd seen what happened in 82, so we don't need to go there. Okay. And even the reforms that came in the 90s didn't need a coup or anything or war. It was peaceful protests led by Matiba, by Kibaki, and by Rubia that brought us the second liberation and multi-party. So at the end of the day, this country is in good hands, is in safe hands, and let's just give the government time to work. The president asked for 1 year. 1 year later, come on, be on his case and ask him, you told us 1 year. Where is this price of unga right now?
All right, Juliet?
Mine is for the Azimio people. Genuinely speaking, you know, the government is only sweet when you're in government. Right now, the UDA people are celebrating. If things would have turned the other way around, sahi watu wa UDA wangesema hii serikali ni ngumu. So yeah, the government is only sweet when you're in government. So for Baba, he had his time. It was sweet. Now he's not in government. He feels like the government is not doing his job. So he's bitter. Clearly, it's signs of bitterness and unhappiness. And another thing, like my counterpart has said again and again, youths will be used. You will be used to perpetrate violence. You will be arrested. It's you who's losing your life. It's you who's losing your livelihood. While people are going to sleep in their bungalows, living their best life, you're out here suffering in the name of unga. Let's be focus driven on what we want. If it's unga, let's focus on unga again, as I've said before. If it's violence, then say I am unhappy with this is the way I want to go forward. So yeah, again, as youth, let's not be used. Yo wakati imepita. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. Looking forward to having you again. For the tacklers who have been with us, it's always a pleasure to have you. This has been the Siasa Wednesday edition of the 29th of March 2023. And I beg to end it now. Not feeling very well, so I'll end it hardy today. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll not see you. You will see Kinarama tomorrow in the Diaspora Edition. The Diaspora Edition, the guys in Diaspora, you'll be with them tomorrow morning as usual from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. And on Friday, we'll be talking about KQ. You know, it's ever landing. It's ever taking off. KQ, we have a conversation on Friday to get to see what's going on with KQ. After it's announced, I think around 36 billion in losses. All right, until then, take care and bye-bye. And take care of yourself as well. Kuna kaoma kanazunguka Nairobi, jichunge. Bye-bye, and see you on Friday.